Supply chains are complex things. There's a lot of different moving parts and components within a supply chain. But what exactly are the major components of a supply chain? That's what I'm going to talk about here today. My name is Eric Kimberling. I'm the CEO of Third Stage Consulting. We're an independent consulting firm that helps clients throughout the world reach the third stage of digital transformation success. And many of the clients we work with are overhauling or transforming their supply chains as part of their business and digital transformation endeavors. But a lot of organizations and project teams don't fully understand what exactly a supply chain is and what the major components of a supply chain are. So what I want to do today is talk about what are the 5 major components of a supply chain and how does it fit into the overall discipline of supply chain management. Now, if you're looking for more information about supply chain management and how it might integrate within your digital and business transformation initiatives, I encourage you to read our 2024 Digital Enterprise Operations Report. It's a report we publish each year that covers some best practices around how to improve your supply chain and your overall operations, as well as an independent review and ranking of different technologies in the marketplace. You can read that by scanning the QR code in front of you or going to the links in the description field below. The first major component of a supply chain is procurement. And one way to think about procurement is it's essentially buying stuff you need to manage your supply chain. And there's 2 different types of procurement. There's indirect procurement and direct procurement. Direct procurement is the acquisition or the procurement of raw materials and other things you need to build your product that you're selling to the marketplace. So if you're a manufacturer of widgets, you might go out there and procure the raw materials to manufacture those widgets. The second type of procurement is indirect procurement. And indirect procurement is important, but it's not directly related to the production of a certain product. In other words, it's meant to support the overall back office functions and things that are unrelated to the direct product itself. So examples would be if I'm going to acquire some laptops for my employees, that would be indirect procurement. If I'm going to acquire copy machines or paper or any other sort of material that is important to running the business, but it's not directly related to building the product we build, then that is going to be indirect procurement. But regardless of which type of procurement you're talking about, it's a very important function because it really determines how much you pay for raw materials and other types of things that you need to run your business. So procurement groups are oftentimes measured on how they drive down cost and how they can optimize the cost of raw materials and other indirect types of things that are bought for the organization. This is why oftentimes large manufacturing organizations and large organizations in general will have a separate procurement group that focuses specifically on acquiring the best price for the best quality from the best vendor available in the marketplace. A second important function within supply chains is inventory management. I talked a moment ago about procurement and how important it is for direct and indirect procurement of raw materials and indirect materials. But once you have those materials in-house and you've procured the materials, you now need to figure out how you're going to manage those materials. How do you keep track of them? How do you know where they are? How do you know when they're going to be used or when you might need more of the certain type of material? And inventory management is the function of managing the physical location of different materials, as well as when it might be time to order more of those materials. So inventory management includes processes such as physical inventories, which is the act of physically going and counting all the inventory you have in stock. You also have cycle counts, which is similar to physical inventories, which is counting the high value and or the high volume types of things within your inventory management. So physical inventories as well as cycle counts are 2 ways that you can manage inventory. And of course, you also have systems that manage inventory levels as well as inventory locations as well. And that's why inventory management has become such a big function, is because a lot of big manufacturing organizations invest a lot of time and money and have a lot of money sitting in their inventory. And it's an asset that's on their books that needs to be managed as such. So inventory management is a very important function within supply chain and supply chain management. Now, warehouse management is a lot like inventory management, but it's more focused on the physical warehouse itself and where physical goods are stored and how they're moved in and out of the warehouse. So inventory management is more of a general function that looks at what our general inventory levels are and making sure we have the right reorder levels and we're ordering the materials we need. But warehouse management is more focused on making sure we have a place to put the materials when they come in stock. And when it is time for them to go to the manufacturing floor, if it's a raw material, it's the act of actually moving the materials from the warehouse to the manufacturing shop floor. And then once the manufacturing is completed, it's a matter of moving the finished products back to the warehouse, assuming you're in a make-to-stock environment. Now, one of the most common and most important business processes within warehouse management is the pick, pack, and ship process. And this is really the process of taking an incoming order from a customer and picking the product from the shelves, packing it up, and ultimately shipping it to the customers. So warehouse management is actually a very complex process that requires focus on a lot of different moving parts, literally and figuratively, because you're tracking not only raw materials coming in and out, finished products coming in and out, and customer orders coming in and out. So there's a lot there that needs to be managed, and this is why technology is so important to managing these business processes. Now, a fourth important component of supply chain management is manufacturing. And manufacturing is often considered its own beast, its own animal, and its own set of business processes. But it's impossible to manage a supply chain without also considering your manufacturing operations if you're a manufacturer. So manufacturing operations is essentially everything on the shop floor where the manufacturing actually happens. And it ties to all the other components that I talk about throughout this video. So when it comes to procurement and warehouse management, for example, that's where two functions will support manufacturing operations in that raw materials are procured by a procurement function. They're typically stored in the warehouse by the warehouse management function and then moved from the warehouse to the manufacturing shop floor. So manufacturing operations also includes not just getting raw materials to the shop floor, but it also entails tracking inventory throughout the work in progress or the WIP process. This is the process that tracks every step on every machine and every step in the manufacturing process. And the whole discipline of manufacturing operations is meant to manage and automate as much as possible those manufacturing operations. And this is where technology is so important, because technology will help humans track where the work in progress is, where the quality defects might be, what the volume and throughput might be, and ultimately what finished product comes out the other end of the manufacturing operations. And of course, once the manufacturing has completed its operations and we have finished products, then the warehouse management function would then take over to figure out where those finished products are going to be stored in the warehouse, or in some cases, if it's a make-to-order type of situation, the finished product might get shipped directly to customers. So all that stuff I just talked about is everything related to manufacturing operations, and it's an important part of the supply chain management function. Now finally, logistics is a major component and function within supply chain management. And logistics is essentially figuring out how you're going to get your finished materials and your finished products to your end customers. And there's a few different ways that logistics can be managed. There's shipping cargo via ships on the water. So if you're building a product in a different country and it needs to be shipped on the water to its final destination, just the whole process of managing the cargo getting from the manufacturing facility onto the ship and to the end customer or to the warehouse in the other country, that is all part of the logistics process. You also have logistics that can be executed by air. So you might ship your product via air. If it's a smaller product or if there's a rush delivery, you might do it via airplane. And then finally, one of the most common types of logistics is via truck. So when you're driving down a highway and you see those big commercial semis, those are more often than not carrying products that are finished products, and they're trying to get those products to either the end customer or the warehouse of the end customer. So when you think about logistics, you're dealing with different countries, different modes of transportation, a lot of finished goods and raw materials and different types of inventory that's trying to be managed. And so you can see how there's a lot of benefit to being effective at logistics management, which is why supply chain management technologies can be so effective in helping manage those logistics functions. I hope this has given you some guidance and some understanding of what the 5 major components of supply chain management are. For more information about supply chain management, I encourage you to read our digital transformation report. It's an annual report we publish each year that contains top 10 reviews and rankings of different systems in the marketplace, including supply chain management and warehouse management, logistics management types of functions and technologies that will help automate your supply chain. You can read that report by scanning the QR code in front of you, or you can go to the links in the description field below. So I hope you found this information useful and hope you have a great day. What am I going to say, though? Those big carriers of semi, no, that doesn't make any sense.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That wasn't.
That was awkward. There's water or shipping. No.
No.
There's water. So if you see the trucks down the, if you see the trucks
Yeah, it's
driving down
down
the
the
street,
street.
that's what it is.